Welcome to Season 2 of Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and false hope collide nightly, like a Masataka Yoshida ground out to second. We break down every loss, every meltdown, and the occasional win, with sarcasm, facts, and no front office spin. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com, or keep wondering how a wildcard team spent an entire offseason avoiding power hitters. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And let me just say this right out of the gate. If mediocrity were a competitive sport, the Boston Red Sox would be undefeated, Hall of Fame, dynasty level dominant. I mean, this team just split a 4-game series with Detroit, and somehow there are people, real human beings, walking around like, hey, not bad. Not bad? This is like your house almost burning down and you're like, well, the kitchen's gone, but the bathroom held strong. Solid effort. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here watching every inning of this nonsense like it's a full-time job, slowly losing brain cells, trying to figure out what this team actually is. Because I swear to God, every game feels like a personality disorder. You don't know which version you're getting. You get Dr. Jekyll one night, Mr. Hyde the next. And then some weird third personality that just bunts into double plays for fun. Joining me tonight is Nick Face, a man who reacts to Red Sox losses like he just got audited by the IRS. This guy doesn't watch games, he survives them. He's on Twitter arguing with strangers like he's defending a PhD thesis titled Why This Team Drives Me Insane. And honestly, he's not wrong. He's just louder than everyone else. Also joining us tonight is John Martinello, our analytics guru, who probably watched this series and came away with, well, actually, if you adjust for expected disappointment, this was a net positive. John's the only guy who can explain a 9-13 team using 47 charts and somehow conclude they're close. Close to what, John? Probably a nervous breakdown. Thayer Doyle will not be here tonight. He is on assignment. Guys, we talked about this. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are now 9-13, sitting 4 games back in the AL East. And I want to be very clear about something. A split against Detroit is not a success story. This is not a step forward. It's not momentum. It's a coin flip that landed on its edge. Game 1, a 1-0 win in 10 innings that felt like both teams agreed ahead of time. Hey, let's not score. Let's really explore the concept of not scoring. That game had all the excitement of a dentist waiting room. Game 2, 4-1 loss. The offense goes completely silent. Again, and not like, oh, tough pitching. No, like, did anyone bring bats or are we just clapping politely when we make contact? Bayo gets hit, and the lineup responds with the urgency of a guy hitting snooze on his alarm for the 5th time. Game 3, 6-2 loss. Crochet gets absolutely lit up in the 5th inning, and the offense responds by doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. You ever watch a team give up a crooked number and just accept it? Like, yeah, this feels about right. Let's pack it in. And then game 4. Oh, here we go. The see we're fine game. 8-6 win. The offense finally shows up. Guys are getting on base. Rafaela delivers. Runs are scoring. And just when you think, okay, maybe they figured something out, they almost blow it in the 9th like it's written into their DNA. This team cannot just win a game. They have to turn it into a psychological experiment. Let's give the fans hope. Now take it away. Now give it back and now almost ruin it again. Okay, end it. It's exhausting. And here's the part that should really bother you. They're capable of playing well. That's what makes this worse. If they just sucked outright, fine, you move on. But this team teases competence. They flirt with being good. They show you flashes, good pitching, timely hitting, aggressive base running, and then immediately followed up with 3 innings that look like they've never met each other before. And ownership loves this. Oh, they love this version of the team. because this is the sweet spot. Just competitive enough to keep you watching, but just inconsistent enough to justify doing absolutely nothing. No urgency, no aggression, just vibes and Fenway ticket sales. Hey, we split with Detroit. That's progress. No, it's not. Detroit came into Fenway and looked like the more complete team half the time. Half at Fenway. That's a problem. And don't even get me started on the offense overall this season. It disappears more often than my motivation to watch this team after a sixth inning. One night they score one run, the next night they pull up 8, then they go right back to looking like they're swinging underwater. There's no identity. There's no consistency. There's just chaos. And here's the reality, and I want every fan listening to really hear this. A split against a 500 Detroit team when you're sitting 9-13 is not something to build on. It's something to question. Because good teams don't find themselves against Detroit. Good teams beat this version of Detroit. And until this team proves that they can do that consistently, this is what they are. A frustrating, confusing, occasionally entertaining, mostly infuriating baseball team that has absolutely no idea what it wants to be. And unfortunately, neither do we. I've said enough. It's time for the word of the day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day!
Trash. Complete, utter trash. It was kind of interesting in my hometown in Reading on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, the local newspaper came out with a little article. And the the garbage truck was actually on fire. The trash was in it. So I messaged the town and said, I didn't know the Red Sox were coming to town. Where's my sound effect? Come on. What? No, that was very good. I had all planned out before we even started. That was outstanding, and I deserve a round of applause.
You got to remember, my mouse has hardly any battery left.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Your mouse is disabled. Much like the Red Sox. But anyways, back to that theater production this weekend at Fenway. Yeah, like you said, Jim, you took 2 out of 4. And I'm left with a hot, steaming pile of garbage in my yard. That's what it felt like. That win on Friday night, that was just like torture. Did any of you actually watch that on Apple TV? I didn't. I didn't fall for it. I was proud of myself. Just kind of did my little things, if you know what I mean, and watched it from other ways. And then you had the biggest thing that came was Crochet. I am at the level right now of concern. It's at a point right now where I think that this is a lot mental with him, but I also think that this has to do with coaching as well, too. What is Andrew Bailey doing for Crochet? How is he helping him to get back on track? I don't have faith in that. I don't. And I'm left with seeing a guy who was a borderline Cy Young Award winner last season. I think he was runner-up. Wasn't he a runner-up? To seeing a guy that is crashing and burning. Kind of almost in a way like it was with Chris Sale. I know Chris Sale got injured and stuff like that, but I just see like a sad puppy dog on the mound with just kind of not figuring out what the hell is going on. And that is very alarming for a team that desperately needs him to be the ace and anchor. The other takeaway from me from these games this weekend was, as much as we don't particularly care for him, and he is a problem on this roster, guys, Masataka Yoshida's got to be in the lineup every day. He has to. Jarren Duran, pack your bags and go back to Worcester. I'm at that point right now. He is useless. You missed your prime opportunity in 2024 after All-Star Duran made the team. You had that offseason when his value was his highest to trade him. And I see reports today that oh, the Red Sox will entertain trading Jarren Duran. What team would want that? And what is his value? It's nothing. I don't see him getting out of his funk. I don't see anything changing from here. I think the Red Sox have a huge Jarren Duran problem. Another takeaway that you get from this weekend was trying to figure out again where our bullpen is at. And you saw it today. It was 8-3 in the bottom of the eighth going into the ninth, and you had to use Aroldis Chapman in this game today. He had no business having to enter this game, but because of how piss poor your bullpen is now, you had to get Aroldis Chapman up to somehow claw your way to get somewhat of a split against the Tigers. It never should have been that way. I'm sorry. 8-3 in the ninth. That is when mop up is mop up, and you just got to get the job done. And they failed to do that. The final takeaway from me is I think we're at a point right now where we need to either put Caleb Durbin to Worcester or install Isaiah Kanafalefa as your guy, at least against maybe right-handers, and against left-handers, give it to Andrew Monasterio, something like that. But I'm done on the Caleb Durbin front. I really am. The Red Sox really also want to play all these outfielders all the time. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen Sonny and Rafaela play second base yet. I am. Considering where we're at and how desperate times call for desperate measures, I'm very curious why we haven't seen that. Is this because of Alex Cora's stubbornness where, Rafaela's our guy in center field? Or is this just come down to the team just being stubborn as a mule and saying this is what our roster is going to be and we're not doing it this year? And if that's the case, that is not putting your best team forward. And that's what we've been in for way too long with this organization. You do not play your best guys all the time. You baby them. You sit them when they shouldn't be. You try and make ways of getting certain guys in when they shouldn't. And I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I have thoroughly enjoyed, by the way, watching the Padres games and following along to that. And it's kind of painful to say that, but I'd rather admit it. They are more exciting to watch and to root for and to cheer on for than this pathetic excuse for the baseball team. That's where I'm at with it. Yes, it's early. Yes, it's been bad. Do I see a bright light at the end of the tunnel? Hell no. That's what you got.
Yeah, some really good points there. I mean, I enjoy watching the Dodgers too. I like to see talented players. Padres, good. You're a great example. Dodgers, I don't want to watch garbage. I don't want to watch mediocrity. And it just kills me how many fans, online and on Twitter are like, giving so many passes to these guys. But Nick, I think you brought up a really good point, and we've talked about this before. Where are we in the season? And maybe I'll ask this as a question later on, but where are we in the season? Folks, chime in on the comments. Where are we in the season where you have to say Marcelo Mayer batting under 200, Caleb Durbin batting under 200? When do you have to make a change, to Nick's point, and put Rafaela at second base? I guess Duran has to play center, and Yoshida's your full-time DH, and I guess Anthony's in left. Something like that. I mean, maybe you swap Anthony and Yoshida. Either one could DH, either one could play the outfield, but it's getting to the point where I'm convincing myself that Kanafalefa needs to play. I mean, it's that bad.
It's that bad.
I feel like I have a better shot of contact with that guy at the plate than I do, with Durbin or Mayer. And I know Durbin had a hit today, but at that point of the game, there wasn't much stress on him. It was 8-2 at the time, right? Or it was close to it. I wasn't following 100%. I was in the office, but Jesus, I mean, where do you go from here? And I think Nick's right. I think your better defensive lineup and offensive lineup has Rafaela now at second base. Tonight's word of the day is brought to you by the Red Sox offensive consistency team. The only product on the market guaranteed to disappear for 48 hours and then randomly show up like it did something. Side effects include confusion, anger, and screaming, "Where was this yesterday?" at your TV. I want to turn it over now to the Martinello Minute.
And now, the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin, just the truth, raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
Yeah, I mean, Nick had a lot of great points and about this series, and I pretty much agree with all of them. So, like, bottom line, this was an extremely frustrating series. Red Sox split, as most of us, I think, predicted how this series would go. It was either 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 4. But there wasn't a single moment in this entire 4-game set that any of us were really able to relax, sit back, and enjoy watching the Red Sox play baseball. And, that's been a common theme for this entire year. Game 1, of course, we got the walk-off in the green jerseys like we always do. Ranger Suarez, phenomenal, best outing of the year, probably going to be one of his top outings of the entire season. 8 innings of shutout baseball. Unfortunately, he didn't get the win because the offense is inconsistent and couldn't put up any runs in 8 innings. And then obviously Yoshida got the pitch hit walk-off in the 10th inning. Offense on Saturday, they had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity against Skubal to get damage done. You have bases loaded and no outs. You have runners on first and third and no outs. And through all of that, you get 1 run off a Connor Wong double play. So any chance that they possibly had of winning that game just goes out the window immediately. I don't care that it's raining. I don't care that it's poor weather outside. It's cold. The other team's dealing with it too. You have that much traffic on base against a guy who's struggling to find the strike zone in Skubal, as rare as it is for him, and you do nothing about it. It's, you're never going to win that game. And obviously they didn't. You go back to last year when the Red Sox faced Skubal, they put up 5 runs off of him, and it was because the Red Sox had a professional hitter in the lineup in Alex Bregman. You remove that, and you get you get what we see every single day now, where we have no idea how the hell they're even to scrape 1 run across. Red Sox go down 1-0, 2-0 early in a game, and it feels like that it's 8-0 because of just how piss poor this offensive effort is, night in and night out. Game 3. Crochet looks really good in the first 4 innings, and then you get 2 outs in the 5th inning. He's cruising. You get behind 2-0 in a count, and then you leave a cutter over the middle of the plate, home run, and then the wheels just completely fall off after that. I'm gonna agree with Nick. Like, I'm starting to get a little bit concerned with Garrett Crochet, and I know we're gonna talk about it in a minute, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into it, but I've raised an eyebrow on him. Today, Sonny Gray dies in the 3rd inning. Red Sox said that it's a right hamstring tightness, and he's going to go on the 15-day IL. Hopefully that's as long as he's out there for, because all the starting pitching depth that the Red Sox had to start the season, all of a sudden it's gone. Cutter Crawford isn't coming back anytime soon. Patrick Sandoval, he's not coming back anytime soon either. And now Oviedo's obviously out for however long he's going to be out for. And, you have Jake Bennett and Peyton Tully. That's left. That's who's left. But, at least today, the lineup in the bullpen pick up the slack. Sox put up 8 runs. And, again, as soon as we think that we could relax for 1 minute, Ryan Watson just implodes in the 9th inning, and you only win by 2 runs. So, you split the series, like, you're not happy about it. And this team, again, is just frustrating. And now tomorrow night, you got the Yankees in town, and they just beat the living shit out of the Royals over the weekend. They hit, I think in the last 5 games, they have 13 home runs. And now that's what you got coming to town. So, time to show up, fellas.
Yeah, some great points there. The Martinello Minute is proudly sponsored by Expected Wins Analytics Company, where the Red Sox are actually 18-4 if you remove strikeouts, bad pitching, defensive lapses, and emotional damage. Expected Wins Analytics, because reality is just too depressing. I want to go to some talking points first one that I want to go over is obviously the elephant in the room. Is Garrett Crochet breaking down? Crochet gets rocked in game 3, giving up 5 earned runs in a brutal stretch where Detroit completely figured him out. But the bigger concern isn't just the line, it's how it looked. Command was slipping, he was getting hit hard, and no real adjustment once things started to unravel. So is this just the second bad outing in a row, or are we seeing some fatigue or some physical injury with Crochet this early in the season? Nick, I'll start with you.
My pup JJ has more in his fastball right now than Garrett Crochet. I will put it that way, and more tenacity on his pitches. I think, like I said at the beginning, I think a lot of this comes from mental. I do. I also think a lot of this comes from just tinkering and adjustments that need to be made. There's a pitch that he used to throw. Was it the cutter or changeup or something? And he hasn't been throwing much of it at all. It's been pretty predictable pitches. I don't know if you guys can back me up on that. What was the pitch that he had in his arsenal last season, and he has hardly touched it the beginning of this season? Was it a cutter or was it a changeup?
It's just his 4-seam fastball.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay.
He's relying heavily on the
maybe
sinker
from
now,
watching
and he's heavily on the sinker, heavily on the cutter.
I think what you see here with Bailey, I'm glad you brought that up, John, with the sinker and the cutter. This isn't your Derek Lowe sinker that's going there. I like to call it the stinker, personally. It's Tattoo City, USA. I don't know why Bailey and crew are finagling Crochet with these different pitches and arsenal that he has. But for me, I think this has a lot to do with potentially spin rate. And I think that they want more spin rate and more junk in a way. And then that leads to more flat 4-seam fastballs or 2-seam fastballs from Crochet. And I think that that's where a lot of this is becoming Happy Zone USA, meaning Crush City. And I think that's the past 2 starts. If you break that down, you'll see a lot of hitters teeing off because when he throws the ball, it's in the happy zone. A hitter's got his eyes light up, and it's like his birthday when the ball reaches before the mitt, when they crank it out, because they're crushing the ball off of them. So something's got to give here, and it's really disappointing that us, as the podcasters and the fans, we can break this stuff down. We can look at it and we can see these things that can scream problems. Where is our coaching staff for this? Where are the people that get paid the big bucks to make sure these guys are healthy and to make sure these guys are doing their job? What are we doing? Are they putting their feet up? Are they just there to watch a ball game and spit sunflower seeds and chew gum? Because that's what it feels like to me, at least right now. The majority of these guys, they have a title and they do shit.
Yeah, John, what's your opinion on Crochet? Are you ready to hit the panic button? Is this just 2 bad starts in a row? Is he tipping pitches? What is the problem in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, if it were tipping pitches, I think that we would have heard something, at least from somebody, on Twitter by now.
But would we have really?
I mean, there's a couple of accounts that after the Minnesota start really tried to dig in and see if they could find anything. But I think what the real problem is here is that Crochet really, he has the 3-headed monster, the Red Sox like to call it, in the fastball, cutter, and sinker. And then he's got his sweeper, and then you'll see his changeup. I think he throws it at like a 5% clip. So, when you're facing Crochet, it's fastball, 3 variations of a fastball, and then the sweeper. And what Minnesota did really well against him, and now, in that 5th inning against the Tigers, is they sat inside fastballs and they spat on the sweeper. And some of it's been command with Crochet, some of it's been just his inability to dot that sweeper that he, last year was phenomenal for him. It was one of the best pitches in baseball. So command's a huge part of it. And then, one thing that I've seen a little bit on is actually what his arm angle is. His arm angle last year was at 35 degrees. This year, it's all the way down to 31 degrees. And what that does is it'll change the way that the ball comes out of his hand. The spin's going to be a little bit different. So we don't see that. We're not seeing that ride anymore on his fastball that we saw last year. And so it's coming in flatter in the zone, and guys are just picking up on it a little bit. And obviously, the velocity the last 2 starts hasn't been all the way there. The other day was a lot closer to what his numbers typically look like from a velocity standpoint. But, when he was really feeling it, he wasn't able to tick it up to that 98, 99 that we're so accustomed to seeing out of him. So I think the real problem with Crochet is I'd assume, or I put my money on that it's the arm angle, and just the balls aren't spinning the way he typically thinks that they're going to spin, and that's why he's missing pitches over the middle of the plate, and he has no feel for the outside with the righty up, no feel for that outside part of the plate.
Now, is there any indication that the arm angle was better or higher in the first inning when he was actually a little bit more productive in the first inning or two? Was there any indication of that?
If I was able to find that information right now, I'd let you know, but I just see as far as what I know to look for or look at online, all that I really see is just, from start to start, not necessarily inning by inning.
Because, you bring up a good point with that arm angle. And the question is that just a mechanical problem right now, or is it because there's a bit of an injury which is forcing him to have a little bit of a different arm slot? So that's the question. I mean, I would think that if there was an injury there, he wouldn't have had the start in this series, but so I'm leaning towards mechanical, but I guess, we'll know probably within the next start or so how this pans out. Staying along the same lines, but just going to another, really kick in the teeth, as this Red Sox team constantly does, is about Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray left early the game tonight. He exits his start with a hamstring issue, and now you're immediately looking at a rotation that already feels like it's held together with duct tape. When one guy goes down, everything shifts, and not in a good way. If Sonny Gray misses, obviously time, which he is, do the Red Sox have enough depth? I mean, is this the time that we're going to see Peyton Tolley, or are they going to string it together with a bullpen game? John, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I said it a couple minutes ago. Before the season started, the Red Sox looked like they had the most quality depth in the league. You had Early, you have Tolley, then you have Cutter Crawford, you have Patrick Sandoval. And now all of a sudden, Sandoval and Crawford, they're seeing setbacks almost every single week, it feels like. Early's already up here because Oviedo's hurt. And then now it's really just Peyton Tolley back there. And so I'm terrified of it because I don't necessarily think that Tolley's ready to go. He's, on his best day, he's the same pitcher that Crochet can be. But again, just like Crochet and the problems that he's seeing right now, when you don't have that changeup that you could go to against a righty, when lineups are going to be, you're going to see 7 to 8 righties in a lineup now, because that's just how baseball works in this day and age. If you don't have all your pitches firing on the same day, you're going to get lit up. So with Tolley, I don't think that he's necessarily ready yet to come up and dominate for an extended period of time, whether that's 1 start, 2 starts, or for the rest of the season. So yeah, I'm terrified with this, what we're seeing right now with how much depth we have. And Jake Bennett is your only other option.
Nick, similar question to you with the impending, 15-day IL stint. Sonny Gray is going to miss, a few starts here. Do you think it's Peyton Tolley time, or are they going to string it together internally?
Ring, 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 ring. Can one of you pick up, please? Pick up the phone, please. Somebody. Ring, 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 ring. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Thank you, Jim. Finally, somebody wants to pick up the phone for me today. Hey, it's Brez. I made a really bad mistake. I should have had you come back anyways. I'm going to sign you. Can you join us for next week? I'm talking about Lucas Giolito. It's inevitable right now because Giolito wanted to be back here anyways. It's just a matter of the Red Sox being wussies and not allowing that to happen. Now I think we're at a situation here where I think you need to roll the dice and make it happen. I didn't mind Giolito. The problem we had was that he the second half just dipped down. That was the biggest thing, and not counting on him in the playoffs was gigantic. I mean, you could have used him, but it didn't happen. I think I entertained that phone call. I'm not saying that I don't want to see Peyton Tolley get the opportunity, but you're at a point right now with the unknown of Garrett Crochet. Oviedo's already gone down. You have more setbacks with Cutter Crawford, and I don't even know why we continue to say his name, Patrick Sandoval. It reminds me of that what's his name, Mondesi, when we were going to get him from the Royals. Patrick Sandoval is not going to pitch one thing here in Boston. Let's be realistic here, people. I mean, come on. The Red Sox are collecting the insurance money, and that's the only reason he's here.
Yeah, last year they said, I don't want to cut you off, but last year they said that he was going to be ready by August.
I know,
We still
exactly.
haven't seen him.
A bunch of friggin' liars, all of them.
It's the same thing with Hendricks, too.
Yep. Oh, don't start me on him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's brutal. But I do think that, obviously, Brez isn't that smart. Mr. Degree himself. I would entertain the phone call. What do you got to lose? What do you have to lose? Give the guy another opportunity.
Well, you have nothing to lose. It's just I don't see that happening. In my opinion, they're not going to go out and sign him and have him on a major league roster and do some sort of 40-man swap or whatever. I don't know if anybody else can go to the 60 that's not on the 60 already that is due to go on the 60. So I just don't see them spending the money on that. You know, they went into this season thinking that this pitching was going to be a strength, and then already in the middle of April, you're trying to backpedal and find somebody off the scrap heap. I honestly think if they're going to do anything, I think you see Peyton Tolley for 2 or 3 starts. I do. And then they're going to, he's either going to force his way into this rotation like Connolly early did in spring training, or he's just going to come up for a cup of coffee and then he'll be set back down when Gray is healthy or whatnot. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. I mean, I rule out nothing, but I'm not sure
it will
that's
take
right.
time if they do explore the Giolito route. I want to make sure.
Yeah, he's got to get in game shape.
I'm an idiot. Oh, Nick said that Lucas Giolito's coming back and he's going to throw Friday. I'm not saying that. They'd have to ramp him up, get him into games, get him into Worcester, get him on a path, and then entertain it. Yeah. I'm talking about that as more of depth piece, kind of like what they did with Tommy Kahle. He's not ready yet, but it would be nice to see him in this bullpen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If we see either Tolley or Jake Bennett, Chris Cotillo put out a little while ago that if one of them do get called up, it's going to probably be for that Wednesday game, and then they just give the rest of those starters, everybody else that's in the rotation right now, an extra day of rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what you're going to see. At least
I also saw too that if they don't throw, say Tolley gets called up tomorrow, for example, if Tolley doesn't go like instantly to throw, and say he does take Sonny Gray's spot in the rotation, that'll be 12 days off. So they're going to have to make some sort of an adjustment with the rotation because that's just way too long. You're going to hurt the guy if you sit him this long. I don't even care if he's long throwing or doing side sessions. I don't want that. He needs game action. That does not help his development whatsoever. That's why I'm more hesitant on this, because the developmental side of where we've been at with some of these guys has not been good. So I don't want to throw him into the fire and then screw up his development and then he gets hurt, because that's what the theme of this team has been for far too long. So it's got to stop.
Yeah, and Tolley was supposed to pitch on Saturday. He got scratched because the Red Sox didn't know if they were going to be playing a doubleheader today, if that game yesterday was going to get canceled. So they scratch him on Saturday. So he probably hasn't thrown since last Monday live.
Yeah, it's not good.
So that's why I kind of lean towards maybe Jake Bennett's going to get the nod for if they go that route and have somebody start that Wednesday game. But, remains to be seen.
Moving right along to our next topic is about situational hitting. game one. This isn't just vibes complaint. You saw it all series long. Game one, you win 1-0 in 10 innings, which means for 9 straight innings at home, you could not push a run across. You had multiple chances and nothing to show for it. Game two, you get the leadoff homer from Contreras in the first, and then you score 1 run the rest of the game while striking out and stranding runners like it's a skill. Of course, game three, after Detroit drops a 4-run inning on you, the offense responds with silence, no pressure, no answer, no momentum shift, just dead at bats while the game slips away. And even game four, the good game, you had innings early where they loaded traffic, they had walks, singles, many chances, and still only scratched across limited runs before finally breaking through late. In fact, I was kind of pissed off early in that game that they didn't send Meyer. I mean, they should have. You have trouble scoring runs. Send the guy. So my question to you guys, Nick, I'll start with you. At this point, is the situational hitting just a coaching issue, a lack of discipline of the players, or just a roster of numbskulls? Your thoughts?
We're going to go back to the words of the day. Pete Fatsy is a big reason for this, but we have a bunch of, as you said, numbnuts. I'm going to call them numbnuts on the team. Sure. They don't have the brain cells up here mentally for baseball IQ to figure out how to do small ball and the little things right. Case in point, we pinch hit Jaron Duran today, guys, for Connor Falefa, and he at first at bat struck out or couldn't get the bunt down. You're pinch hitting Jaron Duran, guys, because the guy can't even bunt. That is a horrible problem that this team has had for far too long.
That's your 2024 MVP of the All-Star game.
You should be screaming off the rooftops from that, but that is the God's honest truth today. You pinched hit Jaron Duran for Connor Falefa to bunt, and he can't get the job done. I said that twice because it needed to be repeated. That is
Might have
how
to say it a third time.
I don't want to repeat. I'm not doing the trifecta here, but that is unacceptable baseball. And that stems from your manager, your coaching staff, and then the ability up here. These guys do not have it up here, the smarts. And Jaron Duran is poster boy for it. He doesn't have baseball IQ. He's a tremendous athlete. Tremendous. He could probably bodybuild and do whatever else he wants to and be very successful with it. But you put a stick and a glove into his arsenal, watch out. Ain't going to be pretty. Ain't going to be pretty. But he's just one example. I mean, even look at David Hamilton from last season. David Hamilton goes to the Brewers this season, and magically, David Hamilton can bunt. Isn't that phenomenal? Because he was coached how to do it. They spent spring training for the Brewers on fundamental baseball, and they can get the job done on that end. But again, it's not just Duran. There's other players that can't get the job done from it too. Trevor Story is another classic example. How many times have we seen him up with runners in scoring position, 1 out or less or 0 outs, and you got bases loaded, couple on, can't shorten up and strikes out, can't drive the ball the other way, can't just make simple contact. It's the theme of this team. It's their approaches. It's their fundamentals. They are a mess when it comes to situational baseball. They can't do it.
Yeah, in that Scooble game, you have in those 2 innings where they had him on the ropes, both times, Contreras and Story. And Contreras has been great this year, don't get me wrong, but in that specific scenario the other day, they combined for 6 strikeouts. And I think either 4 or 5 of them were with runners in scoring position.
Yeah. So, John, a little bit more on the situational hitting in your eyes. I mean, what is your take on the fact? Is this just again the coaching? Is it just a bunch of numbskulls? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple series of the year, they are up until the whoever they beat before the Cardinals. before the Brewer series. Up until then, they were hitting, I think it was like 187 with runners in scoring position. And then from the Brewers and the Cardinals, they hit 330 with runners in scoring position. And then after that, you get to this series, or you have the whatever series, whatever the last one was, and then the Tigers, and they're back down to the 180. They went 4 for 29 with runners in scoring position against the Tigers, and before the 6th inning today, they were 2 for 26 with runners in scoring position. A lot of it just boils down to the approach. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I guarantee you that strikeout percent with runners in scoring position is probably north of like 35, maybe even 40. Look what happened today when Ceddanne Rafaela just decided to, I want to get the job done. He threw the bat at the ball and nubbed it out into right field to score 2 runs. That's what situational hitting is. It's not Driveline said that I have to have this attack angle on the baseball to pull it with this bat speed and hit it off the monster. When you just play the game the right way, hit the ball where it's pitched to you, good things happen. But nothing good's going to happen when you take the same bullshit swings over and over and over again and strike out with runners in scoring position. So I want to blame the coaching, but then at the end of the day, the players on the field are where the results come from. So, it's a little bit of everybody. And, that goes from Cora to the front office to the coaching staff to the players. Everybody has, you have to blame everybody a little bit because it's not something that they were great at last year and now they're awful. They weren't good at it last year either. They're probably worse last year. This year, they just don't get into these runners in scoring position opportunities as much as they did last year. Because last year they had actual hitters on the team.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3 guys in the lineup right now. Your everyday players that are batting under 200. In fact, under 180. And you have Trevor Story, who's on track for another 160 strikeout season. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Come on, this is funny. Give me a little credit for this one.
I mean, I put out the tweet earlier. I said that I hated him, and then of course he drives in 2 runs that end up deciding what the game was.
But that came out good. Come on,
that was a good one.
The best part is the bow tie on his throat.
Yeah, but that's what the Colonel had.
Yeah, give me a laugh. Appreciate you. Just tie it right. Put him on the.
All right. It's time for probables. So tomorrow starts a 3-game series against our arch rivals, the New York Yankees. Arch rivals. So it is at Fenway Park. Tomorrow is a 6:45 start. It's Connolly early against Luis Hill. Wednesday is also a 6:45 start. Ranger Suarez against Max Fried. And then finally Thursday, the 3rd game is at 6:10. And that's going to be Brian Bayo against Cam Schlittler. And we've been hearing a lot of chatter that, it's terrible to hear it, but I guess there's some people that are threatening him. And it's bad. I mean, we need a rivalry, and it's good for baseball, and it's unfortunate that's happening. But Nick, I'll start with you. What are your predictions for this 3-game series with the Yanks?
I think the Yankees are going to knock the Red Sox teeth in. I really do. I think it's going to be a 3-game sweep. I think John Henry's going to watch it. And I do think that after their teeth get knocked in, I think this will finally be a wake-up call where we will see something changed come Thursday night into Friday morning into afternoon.
Interesting.
Why am I feeling that way? Because I think you need a shellacking from the Yankees for John Henry to actually do something. The interesting thing with Henry this early beginning here of the season is he actually has been around. I have to give him a little bit of credit. He's been at the games. Tom Werner's been at the games. The Nesson camera's been panning to him from his reactions and stuff. He doesn't look like a happy person. And I'm not a John Henry fan in the least bit. But I think we have a pulse, folks. I think we do. So maybe there's something that's going on, because over the weekend they did have the camera. I think it was yesterday of some sorts, kind of showed the reaction of what was going down after the Crochet shellacking and all. And it was Henry and Warner, and then Linda Henry was doing her thing as well, but they were very quiet and they were looking at each other and they're like, "Oh, this don't look good." I think we're starting to see an owner that doesn't like what he's seeing finally. An owner that I think might just put his foot down and say, enough is enough. Let's make some changes. Where would the changes lead to? I'm kind of curious on that one. Like, what would be the first domino to fall? I'm actually curious on that. I keep going, is it Cora? I don't know if it's going to be that drastic, because Henry loves Cora. I mean, just think of the suspension and how he lobbied for Cora to come back. Cora's his guy, and I think that Henry thinks that he's going to be an executive at some point. So I don't know if they're going to go that route, but I do think the coaching staff is one route that they'll look at. And then another thing that you could think of is some roster moves. Maybe it is a Durbin going to Worcester. Maybe it is a shakeup with putting Massa into the starting lineup, or benching Duran, or something along those lines. But that's at least my take on it from this. I think that you need the Yankees right now to really make you hit the lowest point that you have hit yet. Am I rooting for the Yankees to kick their ass? Maybe. Because I think at that point, we'll get the chance to see something of a change instead of this same old dog crap performance that we get on a daily and nightly basis. Just my take.
Nick, you brought up something interesting. I don't know what the numbers really are, but when you think of John Henry being at this homestand, if you want, I don't know if he was at this many games last year. I don't think he was. But you had two distinct things that you brought up. One of them was more of a roster question, and the other one is more of a management concern or question. And from the Caleb Durbin standpoint that you brought up, that to me would be really peanuts for Henry to be involved in something like that. I think if it's going to be a Henry decision that something is going to occur, it's got to be more dynamic than just a Caleb Durbin demotion. It would have to be something that involved either Cora, Pete Fatsi, Bailey, Breslow, and I just don't really see any of that happening in April. I really don't. If this was September and, there's 6 or 7 games under 500 and they've been middling the whole entire season, all right, I'll buy that. But I just don't think that they're going to make any kind of drastic moves in management in April, because even if they do, let's just assume for a minute that they did fire Cora or they did fire Breslow. Nothing's going to change for 2026 anyway. So they're going to have to see this crap through until the end, and make a decision either this offseason or they're going to do it during September if they're in a real big slide. John, same question to you, and you can comment on what I just said too if you'd like, but what is your projections for this 3-game series?
Yeah, I mean, for the series at least, I'm never going to predict the Yankees to win a game ever, so I got to sweep. But tomorrow you got
the Red Sox are sweeping.
Red Sox are sweeping. You'll never catch me saying the Yankees are going to win a game. So I got to sweep. Luis Heel, he hasn't done a damn thing since his fake ass. The guy's been in the league since 2020, but he got Rookie of the Year in 2024. So, and he's been horrible to start this season. It went all the way back to last season. Like Luis Heel stinks. Max Fried, Blaster, he pitched his last 2 starts against the Red Sox. He had one in September at Fenway, and then obviously in the wild card. That's going to be a tough one, but Ranger Suarez, I think he's figured it out. So hopefully Suarez keeps the Red Sox in the game on Wednesday, and then Thursday game everybody's been waiting for. Schlitter, he's facing Bayo. Not too confident there, but again, not saying the Red Sox are going to lose ever. So against the Yankees at least. But and as far as the Schlitter comments go, that so many people have been telling me to kill myself, and he's all sad about it. The Red Sox, every single player on the Red Sox hears this every single day, and all we have is Durant flipping people off or saying racial slurs to people. So Schlitter, like, shut the fuck up, dude. You're not from Southie. Like, nobody fucking cares about you. You just run your mouth every single fucking day, dude. Relax. But yeah, Red Sox, I got a sweep for the Sox. And then as far as the, if anything changes with the team, I think it would, at least for this time of the year, it would be roster wise. I don't think that they'd go, maybe, or I wouldn't say that. I think that Fozzie, maybe, Bailey, maybe Fozzie more than Bailey, but I think it would be more so players. But then again, like, what the hell players can you even get rid of right now? Duran's trade value's at an all-time low. You just traded for Durbin, so you're not going to move him. You're not going to move Contreras. Pitching wise, the only movable one would be either Bayo or Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray's out the window now, and now you need the depth, so you're probably not moving a pitcher. So it's a whole bunch of questions that I don't have the answer to, but if stuff keeps on going south, then something's going to have to give.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think something could happen if this continues. I just don't see anything happening this early. My prediction for the series, it's going to be a sweep by the Yankees, and the reason for that is because regardless of how good Early and Suarez pitch, I just don't think the Red Sox are going to score. That's the problem. I think you could get a very good, talented outing out of Early. I think you could get a 6-inning, 1 or 2 run outing. I think you can get the same thing from Suarez. Bayo, I have no confidence in him against Schlittler anyway. So, that's the easy one. The first 2 are the harder ones, but they're just not going to score. That's the problem. I think if they win anything, they might win the first game because I think they could maybe get to Gill, but I don't see them getting to Fried or Schlittler. So I'm going to go with the sweep. Yankees win all 3 games. It's time for some comments. See what we got here on the script. We got a lot of comments today. Just kind of like some stuff out of the blue. War Thunder is fun. Is the Detroit City Connects are sick, but Boston's are better. I also glazed. I don't. I think it's. There was a tweet I saw today that maybe the Red Sox should table the blue and yellow. I don't know. What do you guys think on that? Have we had enough of that color? I mean, the green's great.
Yeah, I tweeted out over that I'm just sick and tired of the yellow ones at this point. Mainly just because of the memories that come along with them. 2021 was obviously great, but then after that, 278 win seasons, an 81 win season. Like, for this weekend alone, I'm all for them. But, the Nike only lets you do 5 jerseys, and then they let it slide with the Boston jersey that they wore today. I tweeted it out. Get rid of the yellows. Bring the red jerseys back to home games, and then give me the navy blues back for the road. The yellow ones just it was really good for a long time, but at this point, like, I also just don't like the green on Fridays, yellows on Saturdays. It just doesn't sit well with me. But I love the green ones. I hope those stay for another 2-3 years. But then again, like, it's a City Connect jersey that's not meant to be here forever. At some point, you just got to get rid of it.
Yeah, and they seem like they started it, and every other team is going on. Remember when they used to have the actual red stockings on the hat about 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Boston's lost every game when their starter didn't go 6 innings or more. Yeah, it's a quality start. If they don't have a quality start, they don't win. It's because
they won today.
They
the
did.
streak is broken.
Yeah, I know.
Season starts now.
Yeah, I know, but we'll see. I guess you're right on that, right? Tigers are kind of stinky. At least their pitching was. Red Sox diehard says the whole organization is dysfunctional, top to bottom. I agree with that.
They're here.
I agree with that 100%. Matthew Wright, Martinello minute happened yet? Yes, it did. It's early on, about maybe 15 minutes in, something like that. Definitely go ahead and when this is uploaded to Apple Podcast, go ahead and listen into the replay. Red Sox diehard, sell the team. I think that's the best thing we could hope for, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm following the Pirates, not a fan, just a fun team. Hey, they got some pretty cool guys over there.
Tell me if I'm wrong. They're up there in the NL
they're
Central,
in first
right?
place, aren't they? Aren't they still in first? They were in first when I checked the other
check.
day. But I like Griffin. I mean, obviously, who doesn't like Skeens? Who's the other pitcher that's in the minor leagues that's supposed to be just as good as Skeens?
They're second
Bubba
in
Chandler?
the Central.
It's Bubba
Is it-
Chandler and Jared Jones. And Jared Jones is hurt, but Bubba
Jared
Chandler
Jones
is
has been
playing,
with
and
them, but
he's
yeah.
been phenomenal.
Yep. So
They're second in the Central, just so you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
game and a half back.
Okay,
Yep.
so they
By
must.
the way, a lot of it is because of the Red Sox, but they're all over 500. The Brewers are last place at 12-9.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, Pirates are a fun team. I mean, I wouldn't. It's not a bad take. Durbin and Mayer don't belong in the MLB. I have to agree with this at this point. Like we were talking about earlier, it's like, when do you start really saying the change needs to be made? We talked about this earlier. Put Raphael at second. And I don't know, maybe I kind of Fulevers at third. I hate to say it, but maybe that's what needs to be done. Starting to doubt on Anthony as well. I'm not there yet. I'm not happy, but he has absolutely no protection in that lineup. We talked about this, I think, last week on our show, and I was big to have Contreras bat second, and everybody said no. I think even you guys weren't on board with it too much.
I just didn't think it was going to happen.
You didn't think it was going to happen. There were some comments that people said, no, don't do it, or they didn't like it. I thought it made the most sense just to help Anthony. And Contreras, I mean, yeah, Abreu's been okay, but he always starts out real strong and then fades. Contreras has been your best hitter. He's actually been your best player. If you want to take offense and defense, he's been your MVP of 26 so far. I think it's safe to say that.
And that's not saying much.
It's not, but you know what? He hasn't killed you being on this team. Okay. Duran has killed you.
Yep.
All right.
Anthony.
Durbin has killed you. Mayer has killed you. Story has killed you.
Anthony has killed you too. Absolutely.
Defensively, there's no question. And offensively.
Let's make sure we give him credit.
Yep.
The throw in left field, I was very big. Good adjustment. I will give him credit where credit's due.
Contreras has been arguably, the best player and the most consistent player. Yankees smoking tomorrow. I think football 716 is correct. Fenway Sports Group is a joke now. They don't care. They're making a ton of money. They don't care about you and me, Red Sox diehard. They don't care about the diehards. They're making money. And you know what? If you and I don't buy tickets, some stupid family that's coming up when the Mets are here certainly will. And that's all they know.
What a series that will be.
Matthew Wright, the Martinello Minute, baby. You can go to our website at redsoxdigest.com and go to the store and get your own piece of the Martinello Minute. You can get a shirt. John, are you a Yankees fan? I don't know what. I look at that hat he's got on and I just say no.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that from, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm a Yankees fan. I got my pinstripes on tonight.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for the 4 World Series, but this team has sucked since 2019. We talked about this, I think, last week. That's why I'm not an Alex Cora guy, because he went out and said, if you like 2018, you're going to love 2019. I didn't love 2019. You made the playoffs 2 times and you sucked the next year. I mean, people will be on Twitter all the time and they'll say, yeah, but 2021, did you forget about that season? They were good. Who's still here? If they were building around 2021, who's still here?
I think it's just Whitlock.
Yeah, I think he isn't that crazy that Whitlock, I think is the oldest. He's the oldest tenured guy on this team now. I mean, really?
2021 was a joke.
Yeah, it was crazy. Great points, John. Matthew says he bleeds red. He's gonna name his kid Big Papa. I love it when you call me Big Papa. That was.
He's talking about Big Poppy.
I know, but I'm talking about.
No,
Is that
I
a
got-
friend?
Yeah. He's,
Yeah, make sure you give him
he's
some
not a
love.
baseball guy.
I can tell. He
Uh,
graduated.
Tilly says, "Good thing we have. Good thing we have
I can
Bailey
keep
to fix
going.
him." Yeah. So Tilly says, "Good thing we have Bailey to fix him." What has Andrew Bailey done here? I put this tweet out about 2 weeks ago. I said, "What does he do here?" Because guys leave, pitchers leave, and they become front of the rotation starters. Kyle Harrison, Quinn Priester. I mean, I don't understand it. What does he do here?
Walker Bueller.
When you only have 3 pitches and you really only use 2, you better have great stuff. I think this is one of the. I think this is why people are concerned about Tolley, right? Because he's got that fastball and he doesn't really have anything that's great off speed. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see how that goes. Juan Ponce de Leon says Crochet is close to, but not Scooble. Hopefully he figures this bad streak. He's not Scooble. Listen, last year was pretty close. This year, I know John said that Crochet was going to win the Cy Young. We just don't know what year John meant.
That's a good point.
It'll take a month for him to get ready. I think you're talking about
Giolito.
Giolito, yep. We'll see how that goes. And then to finish off, a strikeout story. Haha, no pun intended. Trevor Story. That's all I got for tonight. John, Nick, you got any closing comments?
Nick?
Crush him, Yanks.
Just I don't know. Something's got to change. Hopefully the Yankees coming to town lights a fire under everyone's ass, and just, you see some of that just energy, I guess, that doesn't look like it's here right now. Every inning, every game, everybody kind of seems lackadaisical. They don't look like that they are pressing anymore, like it looked like they were after the that really slow start. So hopefully
the same energy you have right now.
I hope it's better than what I got right now. But hopefully Luis Seal tomorrow just like hits Wilson Contreras on the shoulder and he goes out there and rips his arms off and the team gets fired up behind it. I don't know, but they need something to get going.
Passion, care. They need
you
it.
You want to see change? This is about as close you'll get.
Oh, thanks. I need some more change from my store tomorrow. I appreciate it. I would have forgotten that.
That's going to wrap it up for tonight. I'd like to thank Nick and John for being on. Thayer is on assignment. He will be back probably on our next show. I think we will probably be back live. I'm thinking Thursday night to wrap up the Yankee series, but I'll confirm with everybody. Also, too, I didn't have it today because of the morning start. I apologize, but it will be available on our next episode. Is our Star of the Game sweepstakes. And, of course, how that works is that when you see this graphic on my Twitter account or the Red Sox Digest Twitter account, go ahead and comment below who you believe your Star of the Game is going to be for that game. And we tally up all the right answers. And at the end of the season, you have a chance to win a $100 MLB Shop gift card, courtesy of Red Sox Digest and Terry the Toad, just in case he might be interested. That's it for tonight. Thank you, and we appreciate all the comments, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night, everybody.